welcome to Manly Monday. Another morning, Monday afternoon, whatever Monday it is for you, because apparently I am not fully awake, is here again, guys, and I am so excited to be with you here tonight on Manly Monday Live. I love Mondays and just hanging out with you guys, and I'm so grateful that you are here. So shout out in the comments, get involved in the chat section, and let us know that you're here. The conversation gets better, guys, the more you get involved, and we just have a really good time that way. Now, how do you actually execute personal growth? You've heard all about personal growth and that you should grow, but how do you actually do it? I talk about personal growth all the time, but I realize I might have actually not given you guys a layout of what works, at least in my life. So on tonight's show, I'll share with you my 4 pillars of growth, the 4 strategies I personally use when I'm trying to grow as a person. It doesn't matter if it's anything from trying to learn a new skill or to improve myself physically or to stretch as a person emotionally. I use the same baseline practice for everything I'm trying to achieve, guys. We'll break down each pillar so that you can see the steps inside of each one and so that you can take what you see and apply the pieces to your life that you see as beneficial, guys. Now, I'm not saying the way I do it is perfect for you, but as you know, here on the channel, it's family, guys. So we're here to share with you, and you can take what works for you out of this and apply it to your life, and things that don't necessarily apply to you, just toss them out the window. It's not a big deal. But we always talk about coming alongside of each other in this journey together as we're here on the Fallible Man, right? That's what we do, is we come alongside men as they seek to become better versions of themselves, myself included. And part of the way I want to do that tonight is just to share with you the steps I go through as I'm trying to develop myself, because this is what's worked for me. And so maybe I hope is that it's going to help you guys out immensely as we get into it. Now, as always, guys, I have a link down in the description, no matter if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're coming to us, there is a link. And if you want to join us on air during the question and answer part of the show later in the show, then you can click that link and it will fill out a form and send me a little form. That way I'm not sharing your email with the whole world, and I can send you an invitation to come on the show. Also, if you don't want to come on air, that's fine. During the Q&A portion of the show, if you've been on the show before, you know anything Fallible Man is fair game. And we talk about anything, guys, because we want to help you and we want to support you as you are on your personal journey. So put a QQ in front of your questions, as you can see on the bottom banner as well, guys. And that way, my lovely wife and engineer will make sure that I see those as we go along tonight, and those questions get answered as well. Guys, I'm really excited for you, and because, well, I'm excited for me because I put a lot of work into the show. So I hope you guys actually get something out of this show. I even got all fancy tonight. I got a PowerPoint. I know. But we're going to get all kinds of fancy and crazy tonight, guys. I'm really excited about tonight's show because, guys, this is the steps I go through every time I'm trying to do something unique or add a portion of my life. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Now, guys, as always, like I said, be sure and jump into the comment section. It is a much, much better show, and I just love seeing you guys, see that you're here, you're getting chat back and forth, and we get some great conversations going in the chat that have nothing to do with me, and that's fine too. It's just a great community, and I love seeing you guys. If you're on Facebook and you would like your icon on Facebook to show along with your name, go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and tell Facebook that's okay, and we'll okay it. If you don't care and you don't mind being initial, that's fine too. Either way, we still know you're here and we love you anyway, so that's fine. You don't have to have the fancy little icon. Now, practical application, guys. Take out your notepads, and I'll have, like I said, some visuals for you guys as we go along to help with this, because you might want to take notes. So take a second, grab a pen, grab a paper. If you're watching in the car or listening in the car, please don't do that. Let's be safe, okay? But this is really how I do it, and it's really been effective. Some of you guys have been along this journey with me for the last couple of years, and hopefully you've seen some differences in the way I do things and the way I work at things. And I'm really, really excited, guys, to share this with you. I can't actually, I feel kind of stupid. Like I haven't, it's like, wow, how did I not share this with you sooner? This should have been something I share with you from the get-go. So forgive me for that. I am the fallible man. I obviously make mistakes, but let's go into this. So I'm going to add this to the screen. If you're not growing, you're dying. My 4 pillars of growth. Fancy title slide. Yay! Right? But the first thing I want to talk to you about tonight, guys, is step number 1, or the first pillar, is vision. Now, vision is just the launching point. Oh, I jumped ahead of myself. Hey, this is what happened when I don't read my notes. Okay, guys, I want to give you an example of stagnant, right? One of the things I've talked about many times is stagnating in your life. Only dead things don't grow. In fact, I believe it so much I made a shirt that says it. Hey, I see Mitch just joined us. Mitch, welcome to the show, man. Good to have you back. Mitch and I connected on Facebook since our last show, and I'm just really excited that he has decided to come and be part of the nation and be here tonight. So glad to see you, brother. Good to have you here. Now, we've talked about stagnation, and stagnation is when things stop growing, right? I got a couple pictures for you. You'll love this. This is stagnation. This is not what you want your life to look like. Okay. This is dead. Well, it's a really cool silhouette to symbolize dead. I don't know that tree is actually dead because I didn't take the picture. So I don't know that tree is actually dead, but I wanted to get this visual in your heads. Dead things don't grow. Stagnant things end. They choke you out. That's not what we want. So as we go into personal growth, as we're trying to grow ourselves, then we need to make sure we're not stagnant, because that's what happens when we're not actively growing, right? I really believe there's 2 states. There's stop and go. It's just how it is. You may go slower than I go, or you may go faster than I go, but there's stop and go. There's not really in between. Hey, Shirley, I see Shirley's joining us online. Thanks for jumping on tonight. Always good to see the fam here. Guys, I see, I get too excited and I get ahead of my notes. Okay, vision. There we go. We're into vision. Yeah. Now, vision is the point where you start to dream. Okay. You hit a point where you start to dream and you start to ask the questions, where do I want to be? What do I want to achieve? What is it that I'm dreaming of? Right. And this is where we start that sequence of longing or wanting something else, is in the vision stage, the vision pillar. We get into self-realization. After we have a vision of where we want to go, we have to realize where we are. We have to have that honest conversation. Go, hey, where am I now? And I go through all these stages. So this is my brain at work. So if it doesn't make sense, that's why, because this is my brain at work and it's not always a non-chaotic environment. The third step to that is to critique. What needs to change in me and around me for me to pursue this new goal that I'm envisioning? And then lastly, you got to figure out, why do I want to change? What's my motivation to change? We've talked about whys a lot on this show because it's really, really important, because without a really solid why, you're not going to achieve the changes that you desire to make. It doesn't matter if you want to get healthier, or if you want to get a better job, or if you want to improve your relationship. Without a really solid why, you're not going to weather the storm. So this is the first part of the equation. Our first pillar is the vision part, where we dream about where we want to go and we realize where we are now and what needs to change for that to happen and why we want to go. And this is really important. Don't rush through this. Okay. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to be a dreamer. Be a dreamer for a minute. Okay. Give yourself some time. Don't rush through this, because you really need to understand where you're at, what you're dreaming about, what needs to change to achieve that, because we're going to use that in the next portion, and the why behind it. Like I said, not a strong why is not going to work. Now, if you're taking notes, Sarah, go ahead and hit that next slide. Here's what I just said, because I have steps inside my steps. Because if you've been on my show before, I've talked about smart goals and decision making and how to actually plan something out. I told you, you have to keep breaking things down into little processable pieces. And that's what this is. We're going to have our 4 pillars, and we've got steps inside of each of those pillars. So these are the 4 steps inside of that pillar that make it work. So this is vision. Now, the good news is this is on YouTube. So if you don't want to take notes, but you still want to have these written down, and you still want to get this, that's cool. Go back and rewatch the video and just pause it. Oh, there we go, right? Problem solved. Or you can take a screenshot right now and get my beautiful face. Yeah. With all the great notes. I really only had a little bit of coffee today. Okay. Relatively little for me. But guys, that is the first pillar. Now, tell me in the comments, guys, as you're jumping in, how do you stay on point when you're trying to make changes and grow? What method, what methodology, what style, what do you use to help you stay on point when you're trying to make changes and grow in your life? That helps us. If you share it, that helps the community. That helps us all grow more. So share that in the comments. Number 2, guys, strategy. Go ahead. Next slide, Sarah. This is how we'll progress. Strategy is the second pillar. Okay. We have the vision pillar. So we've already looked at things and gone, this is how I want to get where I want to go. This is why I want to go. This is what I think I need to change. And because I know where I am right now. This is a really important foundational pillar. The next foundational pillar that you need to jump into is strategy. And in strategy, we're going to start reverse engineering. We're going to start at the end and work backwards. Now, this is how I do a lot of my YouTube videos. This is also how I plan my conference, and generally how I plan a lot of things that you guys don't ever see is I start with the end goal in mind. This is where I want to go. This is the big picture. And I start working backwards from there. And I start breaking things into little pieces. So start with the end in mind. You know where you want to go. Picture what that looks like. I mean, really get a clear image in your head, what that looks like. How does that person look? How does that career look? How does that job, right? Get a clear picture. Some people will call this dream boards, right? Some people use dream boards to help with the vision portion of this, or even with the reverse engineering portion of it. Whatever works for you, there's nothing wrong with that. If that is the way your brain works, like I said, take pieces out of this that you can apply to your life and make this work for you, because it's not a perfect strategy for you. It's a perfect strategy for me. Planning. Okay. During the planning portion of our strategy, we're not breaking down everything. During the planning portion, we're looking at the 40,000 foot view of what it looks like to make this change. Now, let me explain to you this a little bit. The difference between a house plan and blueprints is dimensionality. A house plan is what most of us see, right? That's the overlook of the floor plan, and you can see where the windows and the doors are and little outlines of stuff, right? That's the 2-dimensional overlook. That's the planning stage that we're in. It's a 40,000 foot view of our strategy. Get the big image. Start to see the big pieces. Once you have the big pieces in place, then we're going to get into the blueprints. That's the third portion of this. On the blueprints, we're going to go deeper. We're going to give it some depth and dimension, and we're going to start thinking more 3-dimensionally. We're going to start looking at, where do we need the power outlets? How does the wiring look in our home? You're ahead of me, dear. How does everything connect together? No, go ahead. You already went there. Sorry. This isn't Sarah's fault, by the way. This is mine. I did not communicate this with her at all. I had problems with my tripods tonight for my cameras, guys. So like I was scrambling as we were launching the show. So this is not Sarah's fault that she got ahead of me on this one. You got to go deeper and break down. This is where we're getting all the small pieces, because once we have the big picture, once we put all the big pieces, right? I told you, I'm a really big fan of see the vision, start reverse engineering, break it into big pieces. That's our planning portion. Then break it into blueprints. That's where we take those big pieces and take all of those big pieces and break them down into smaller, more achievable pieces. Now, once we get through the blueprints, we got to get into SMART goals. Now, we've talked about SMART goals many times on this show, and that's what we're going to do is we're going to take the blueprints now, the little pieces that we've broken this down into, and then we're going to set SMART goals to start knocking out those pieces. Is everybody following me on this? You guys are pretty smart, so I won't have to explain this more than once. So that's the plan, right? Reverse engineer the process, break it into big pieces in the planning stage, jump into blueprints and get more specific about the little pieces, then start setting SMART goals to take care of those pieces. Shirley says, have reliable mentors to associate with. A wise woman once told me that all we need to have 3 or 4 mentors and glean the best out of each one. The reason you need more than one is so you don't wear one out. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. And that's how one of the ways she keeps accountable. I believe that's the response this is about. But it is absolutely, as a coach, it's great to have more than one. Just don't get so widespread. Mentors are meant to be a really close relationship. So be really careful not to proceed from mentors to advice. Not everybody has bad advice, but everybody has advice, and it's not always good advice. Mentorships are meant to be close and personal, deep connections. So 3 or 4 is good. Any more than that, you're really starting to stretch. Now, guys, everybody's quiet tonight. Wow. I can see people on, but everybody's so quiet. It's amazing. If you're out there joining us, I apologize. I know that I actually have some people who watch the show that for some reason YouTube does not work right with them, or Facebook doesn't work right, and their comments don't always show up. They can't always comment on the video. So I see you guys. I know you're here. I love you guys, and I appreciate you. They're here. Even if you can't comment, I'm sorry that YouTube is weird like that. I've never been able to figure out how that happens. Number 3 is actuation. Yes, that is a word. I did look it up. Just getting that out there ahead. Actuation. Actuation is exactly what it sounds like. It's the starting process. It's movement. Okay. So number 1 step of actuation is start. Most people never get to this point. Okay. This is a really, really big problem. Most people can get into the vision part. Some people get as far as strategizing. A lot of people never get to action. We dream and we daydream and if only I didn't have this horrible job I hated, or if only I had this better relationship with my spouse or with my kids, or if only, and we dream and no, okay. That's not here, and that's not you guys. That's why you're here, because you want to take action, and that is where we're at. The 3rd pillar is actuation. So start. Most people never get here. Start executing. That's number 2. Executing on your SMART goals, right? We know SMART goals are specific, measurable, actionable, timely, and I always forget the R, reasonable. I think I'd have to look behind my monitor. They're actually on my board behind my monitor because I keep that there all the time to remind myself. Okay. Execute on your SMART goals. You created all these SMART goals to start knocking out those little pieces. Execute on your SMART goals. Track them as you go, guys. That's why SMART goals are important, because they're measurable. So track them as you're moving along, because that will keep you on task. Realistic. Thank you. Wow, I'm so good. I tell myself, that's my lovely wife, realistic, because some of us get way, way out there, because I'm not always realistic. Sarah has to rein me in every now and then and be like, I know you think you're brilliant, honey, but you're not Joe Rogan yet. So yeah, realistic, but execute on those SMART goals. Habits, create new ones, remove old ones that are in your way, right? This is all part of actuation. You got to start going. You got to start executing on those SMART goals. You have to start creating old habits or removing old habits that are problematic for your new goals. Put in the reps. This is where we lose a lot of people in personal development. It will take longer and more work than you thought. So don't quit early. People often fail because they do it for a week or a day or 2 weeks, and then they're like, Oh, it's not working. Right? Don't be that person. It's going to take longer than you imagine it's going to take. Right? I was talking to a millionaire entrepreneur on my podcast, and he was telling me about the rule of three, and it's going to take 3 times as much time, 3 times as much resources, and 3 times as much money as you initially plan when you're doing a new project. That is that's like a hard, fast rule he lives by in his business. The guy is a millionaire, plural. Okay, so it's going to take longer. It's going to take more work, more effort. It's going to take more time. I can't stress the time enough. So don't quit early. People quit when they don't see results immediately because we live in this microwave society where people are just like, beep, beep, beep. Okay, 30 seconds, go. Right? 3-minute abs. It did not take 3 minutes for you to lose your abs. Lose the visibility of your abs. It took a lot longer than that. It's going to take a lot longer to get it back. All right. It's not a microwave. There is no quick miracle cure. And the last part of actuation is do the work. Just do the work. I can't say it enough. You've got to put in the reps. You just got to keep doing the work. And this is where we lose another portion of the people is they just get worn out. They get tired and they give up. They're like, you know what? This is more effort than I thought it was. Do I still want to do this? Is it worth giving up the Netflix and chill time? So go ahead to the next slide, Sarah. So actuation, guys, start, execute, habits, put in the reps, and just do the work. It is really, really easy to lose everything before this point. So many great ideas, so many great goals never get achieved because people burn out before they even get to actuation. And then only a few of them actually continue to move forward and put in the reps and do the work to get to where they want to go. It's hard work. I've told you guys before, I generally get up at 4:00 in the morning. That's not a yay, Brent's great. Woo! No, that's not what that is. That's not a brag. Okay. I get up at 4 a.m. because I have a couple hours where I can get in extra work before my children are awake and before I have other things that require my attention and time during the day. It's what it takes for me. I'm not a good late night person. I don't stay up well. My wife is a night person, so she's much better at staying up and getting work done. I'm better at getting up early and getting stuff done. See, everybody's a little different. What's going to work for you is going to be different than what works for me a little bit. But, I get up early. Why? Because I need those extra hours to chase the things I want to achieve. And that's when it works for me. You might do it better at night, like my wife does. You'll have to find it, but you have to put in the work and you have to put in the reps, and it's going to take time and it's going to take hours, and you're going to get tired. You're going to get discouraged. And then you're going to come back to Manly Monday and be like, Brent is not working. And I'm going to be like, how long have you been doing it? You're going to be like, a week. No, you guys are better than that. You're going to be like, I've been doing this for months. And then I'm going to sit down with you and go, okay, so let's figure out what part of this process is broken, because that is what I want to do with you guys. I love hanging out with you guys and helping you guys out, because that's what we're here about at the Fallible Man. Now, guys, before we go to point number 4, I want to just pitch the Phoenix. The Phoenix conference is coming, guys. To you, February might be a long ways away. For me, February is tomorrow. That's when you plan large events, guys. I can't tell you how fast they come up on you. And we are in full swing. I actually have sent out 2 more invitations that I'm waiting on replies from for speakers. We have 3 of our speakers get booked. And the Phoenix Conference is coming to you February 10th and 11th in Quincy, Washington. And we do it online. We also do it in person. Mainly we do it in person, but we also stream the event entirely virtual because we want everybody to be able to come to this. We want everybody to be able to be a part of this. I thought I had a graphic for this. Sorry about that. But we want as many people as possible to be served by this event. It is our in-person event. We did it last June. Then we had to move the dates because June dates were bad. So we moved it to February. So tickets are on sale for in-person if you're in the Pacific Northwest and you want to make the trip over. Or join us virtually. I do a pretty good virtual event, guys. You'll get all of our main stuff, all of our speakers streamed live straight to your computer. It will go to our Facebook group that we created that you'll be added to immediately. You'll also
is an online social media and
Shut up,
social
Alexa.
networking service owned by American company Meta
Sorry.
Platforms.
I didn't realize my Alexa was on.
2004 by Mark Zuckerberg with fellow Harvard
Interrupted by my
College
own
students and
technology.
Margaret
That's great.
Strawberry, Andrew McCollum, Dustin Moskovitz, and Chris Hughes. Its name comes from the Facebook.
So, sorry about that, guys. Wow. Live. Only on a live would that happen. But we do it in person and live. And virtual. Our virtual attendees also have breakout rooms and discussions just like our live attendees, guys, and much, much more digital downloads, all kinds of goodies from the event, guys. It is a lot of fun. And tickets are on sale right now at www.thefallibleman.com/the Phoenix. Go check that out. Like I said, I've got Oliver Marcel, Diamond Well, and Jim Fuller already booked. I've got 2 more invitations out. I'm not going to tell you who that is because I don't want to be like, I got these guys, because I don't have them coming yet. Once I have them coming, we will announce those speakers. But if you like our live streams or you love the podcast or love what we're about here at the Fallible Man, check out the Phoenix Conference, guys, because it is like this on steroids. And you don't have to listen to me. You get to listen much smarter than people than me. So February 10th and 11th, we may even be stretching that to a 3rd day. No promises, but that's a possibility this year. And back to the show. Number 4, guys, is the 4th pillar is evaluation. Okay. We've already started with the vision pillar, and then we move to the strategy pillar and the actuation pillar. The 4th pillar is evaluation. Now, an evaluation, if you ever worked for anybody, is more than a passing glance. This is not like, hey, that looks good. We're good. No. Evaluations is a deep dive in what you're doing with your strategy, with your plan. Review. Number 1 part of that is review, track your SMART goals. Are you tracking them? Because if you're not, that's your fault. Okay. That's what SMART goals are about. Part of what SMART goals are about is they're trackable, right? That's why we do them. So are they on time and progressing? If they're not, what's holding them up? Critique it. How are you feeling about your goal? How are you performing so far on this journey? Do you still want the same things? Is this still the same direction you want to move? We use this time to feedback and find out for sure that we are still on the path we want to go on. Okay. Number 4 is correct any miscalculations on your SMART goals to make sure that they're still on track. You might have miscalculated a time frame, right? We talk about timely and SMART goals. Maybe you just didn't have enough experience to know it's going to take a little longer on this particular goal than you thought. Or maybe one you've run into, you really need to break it down to smaller pieces to achieve it, right? Correct any miscalculations in your goals and in your blueprint. Adjust for any changes that need to be made. You might have to change your approach entirely. And number 5 is get ready to pivot. If you need to make a big change, this is where you need to make the adjustment. Your end goal might have changed and you no longer feel the same way about this being the best direction for you. You might have looked at it and started down the path and been like, this is not what I thought it was. All right. That's okay. Let me be the first to give you permission. That's okay. You don't need my permission, but it's okay because people change. Sometimes you get started down a path and you're like, wait. This isn't really what I thought it was about. This wasn't how I thought it would go or this just doesn't fit. I want to do it, but I really got to recalculate this because this doesn't fit my needs in my life right now. That's absolutely possible and absolutely realistic. So go ahead to the next slide, Ben. So during the evaluation portion of this is review, track your goals, make sure they're progressing okay, critique how you're feeling about it, how it's going, correct any miscalculations, adjust for anything you need to change, and be ready to pivot in case this is a different direction entirely. I can't tell you how many times I've started down a path and I got a couple months into a goal and went, and just turned that, like, just 45 degrees off because that's just not where I was going. Something totally different than what I thought it was, or I learned new information as I was going through the process, and it just wasn't where I needed to go or wasn't going to work the way I had planned it. And I had to go all the way back to the vision portion and redo part of my blueprint or change the goals entirely. It's okay and it happens. And it's actually a really normal part. Let me reiterate this. It is a normal part of personal development and personal growth because we're humans. We change. When we want to change, we don't know all of the variables necessarily. I don't know all the variables it takes necessarily to achieve every goal I've ever wanted to achieve. Maybe there are things you want to achieve that you just don't know how to get there even. Well, that's how we get there. Now, I want to put this visual for you guys. Okay. Last visual. Personal growth is held up on these 4 pillars: vision, strategy, actuation, and evaluation. I wanted to come up with a really cool acronym, but to keep them in the sequence, I couldn't come up with a good acronym because I'm not good at that. Someone might have been able to do it. I could have like reorganized them, I guess, to VASE or something stupid like that. But then they would have been out of sequence and I would have felt really stupid doing it. So we just took that part out. Now, guys, I hope that made sense to you. And I hope you'll go back and consider like pausing it. Okay. I told you it's not perfect for, I got to fly now. It's not perfect for you necessarily. This is the process I go, whether I am working on being a better husband or father, or whether I'm working on myself at the gym. This is how I plan my fitness journeys. This is how I plan events. I literally have this game plan laid out in my head and part of it on my whiteboard behind my screen over here. You can't see where I'm working on the Phoenix 2023 for February. I've got a bunch of other stuff that's in the pipeline right now, guys, and we're really excited about it with the podcast. And I'll let you know more about that as it goes. But I literally break things down this way every time. This is how I do it. Now, go back through, watch the video, take the screenshots or take notes or whatever, and see what you can take out of this, because this is what's worked for me. You may have to adjust. You may have to tweak a little bit. You may have to add something or take something off, but take what you can out of it, because as you walk down this journey of personal development and personal growth, you're going to hit some junctions, and having a game plan for how to attack this is really, really, really beneficial, because self-improvement is easy to get lost in. A lot of people get swallowed up down the self-improvement rabbit hole, and they read all these books and they read and read and read and get information overload, but they never actually follow through because they don't know how. And I am so sorry that I haven't shared this guy with you guys before now. I actually feel really silly because, like, wait, how have I never actually relayed this to my audience before? You're my people. Y'all are the Fallible Nation. Oh, and side note, hey, I have some new shirts up on thefallibleman.com. If you guys didn't know, I make all my own merchandise because I wear all my own brand. So like this hat, the shirt you see me wearing, it's all my own brand. I only wear my own designs. And I have a shop on my website. So if you guys are really into Fallible Nation or really want to support the channel, that's a way you can do it, is you can go over and check out. I have some really boss designs. I'm really, really proud of the last couple I put up. It's like wine, I guess. I get better the more I practice at it. So my designs get better. If you go back, you can see you can see the transition. If you go farther back in my shirt designs, of the complexity and how good they get. So some of my older shirts aren't as good. Some of my older shirts are great, but check out our new designs. Hey, and check out the website. If you're not a member on the website, we have a membership part of the website where it's a forum where men can talk and men can support each other. My guys aren't real active, so maybe you will be the catalyst to make my guys active on there. I'm active on there, but guys, I love hanging out with you. I am so grateful that you took some time to be here tonight and to be with us. Mondays are just really exciting for me because I get to actually interact. I love doing the podcast, but one of the hardest things for me about doing the podcast is I'm not talking to live people. And I just love interacting with people. It's one of the reasons I love the Phoenix is I get to interact with the men who are involved in it and have amazing conversations and get to know people. And we get to connect at a whole nother level. And it's so, so, so much fun. So be sure and check that out. Guys, as always, be better tomorrow because of what you do today. And we'll see you on the next one.